Millennials. Millennials, also called Generation Y, were born between 1981 and 1996. They are now the largest generation in the workforce, making up more than one-fifth of the global population. In the United States, they are also the most diverse generation in history. Millennials were shaped by education and technology arriving at the same moment. They grew up alongside the internet, learning to search, connect, and adapt as digital tools evolved. They also became the most educated generation to date, with about one-third earning a four-year college degree. This education prepared them for a fast-changing economy, but global events disrupted their early lives almost immediately. Financial stability came later, and through unfamiliar paths. Many entered adulthood during the 2008 Great Recession, delaying homeownership and wealth building. In response, they adopted tools their parents never had. App-based investing, digital finance, and impact investing became common ways to manage money in real time. Even small, early investments gained power through time. In the decades ahead, millennials are also positioned to receive the largest wealth transfer in history, as homes and savings passed down from baby boomers. Work stopped being just about survival. Therapy, mental health care, and mindfulness became normal topics rather than private struggles. Purpose moved to the center. Many began choosing jobs based on values, flexibility, and meaning, pushing companies to rethink culture and expectations. Constant connectivity also made remote collaboration and global careers possible. Health became something to manage early. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, and preventive care became part of daily life, supported by wearables and telemedicine. But this progress carried weight. Many graduated with five-figure student loan debt into a frozen job market. Their careers stalled before they even began. For millennials who were able to buy homes, on average, this happened at later ages compared to previous generations. Stability in homeownership, savings, and security arrived years later than promised. Over time, trust in employers, banks, and institutions quietly eroded. Through it all, millennials weathered everything with their impressive ability to adapt, learning to build identity and opportunity while the ground keeps shifting beneath them. Generation Z. Gen Z includes those born roughly between 1997 and 2009. They make up nearly a quarter of the global population and are now entering adulthood at scale, filling classrooms and job markets faster than institutions can adjust. Gen Z grew up with a level of awareness no generation before them had. Fully immersed in digital life from childhood, they have never known a world without instant news, social media, or global conversation. This made them highly informed early and deeply realistic about what adulthood looks like. They watched older generations juggle debt, rising rents, unstable jobs, and burnout, and adjusted their expectations accordingly. Emotional honesty became normal, not brave. Mental health, money stress, and identity are discussed openly. Nearly two-thirds say peace of mind matters more than wealth, even if that means slower careers or simpler lifestyles. 80-hour weeks and constant hustle are viewed with suspicion. Boundaries, flexibility, and personal time are treated as essentials. That realism shows up early in how they handle money. More than half use health savings accounts. 1 in 5 contributes to a 401k before age 25. Movements like loud budgeting and no buy reject status spending in favor of control and transparency. Money is discussed publicly as a shared problem to solve. Learning is fast and self-directed. Over 40% use platforms like TikTok to teach themselves skills, from coding to financial literacy. Information is pulled on demand and applied immediately, allowing rapid adaptation in a changing job market. Wellness is built into daily routines. Wearables, health apps, and telemedicine are normal tools. Even under high economic stress, Gen Z is more willing than previous generations to seek guidance and preventive care. But this clarity often comes with extra burden. Many wake up to alerts about climate disasters and global conflict, then scroll through curated lives that invite constant comparison. Research consistently shows that Gen Z reports significantly worse mental health compared to older generations. Optimism still exists out there, but it is cautious. Gen Z's inspiring strength comes from their clarity, seeing reality as it is and choosing intention over illusion. Generation X. Generation X includes those born between 1965 and 1980. Globally, they represent about 17% of the population. In the United States, they now hold many of the most demanding leadership roles, often without much attention. Independence was learned early for Generation X. They grew up during record-high divorce rates and the rapid shift toward two-income households. Many came home to empty houses after school, letting themselves in and figuring things out alone. With less supervision and fewer safety nets, problem-solving became a daily habit. Over time, this produced a generation that trusts itself first and questions authority by default. This independence shaped how Gen X works. They are practical, skeptical, and results-focused. Despite being smaller in number, about 55% of startup founders come from Generation X. They value competence over titles and prefer environments where decisions move quickly. These traits made them especially effective leaders during the early tech era, when adaptability mattered more than hierarchy. Financially, Gen X is at a turning point. Most are now in their highest earning years, and roughly 3/4 earn more than their parents did at the same age, even after adjusting for inflation. At the same time, they carry high levels of debt, mortgages, car loans, and education costs, often while still paying for their children's futures and their own. Generation X was the first to fully rely on the 401k, learning early that retirement security would depend on personal planning rather than employer promises. Gen X quietly redefined what strength looked like. They moved away from silent endurance without abandoning responsibility. Therapy, mental health tools, and work-life boundaries became acceptable and often necessary. Flexibility and autonomy matter, and identity is less tightly tied to job titles than it was for previous generations. Health became about long-term maintenance rather than quick fixes. Influenced by early exposure to yoga, alternative medicine, and stress awareness, they take a balanced view of wellness. Even while caring for children at home and aging parents at the same time, over 70% still report good mental and physical health. The pressure on Gen X shows up daily. Pensions disappeared. Job security weakened. If something breaks, career, health, finances, there is rarely an institution waiting to step in. Their strength lies in endurance without nostalgia, adjusting quietly while holding systems together.